Okay. Hello everyone, welcome to the platform of ISGS. So today is very important day as ISRO and NASA are planning to launch a combined space mission, that is NISAR. So we would be covering from the perspective of our prelims and mains examination as well, that what is this NISAR, why is it so much important, इस पे इतनी न्यूज जो है वो क्यों चल रही है, what NISAR is all about, how India and USA Space Agency have collaborated over it. We would be talking about these things in today's video, and this would be important from perspective of if we see the overlap of the syllabus from GS1 geography, from GS3 from the perspective of disaster management, environment, space technology, and also you can quote this as an example in your essay papers as well. So as we talk today, this satellite would be launched around 5:40 p.m. from Sriharikota Island, that is Satish Dhawan Space Center. So now हमारे लिए important बनता है that हम इसमें समझें that निसार की components क्या हैं. What is L band? What is S band synthetic aperture radar? How these technologies are being so much significant कि हमें कैसे ये help करेंगी to realize in the multiple aspect, चाहे वो environment हो, agriculture हो, future space technologies ho, and so on. So we would be moving one by one and we will see that how this NISAR is being launched, क्या उसके significance हैं, क्या benefits हैं. So let's start. So it would be as we are observing our earth from the two eyes perspective. As you might be aware of, जब हम किसी भी चीज को एक eye से देखते हैं, एक आंख से देखते हैं, तो we get a 2D vision. But when we have a pair of eyes जब हमारे पास होता है तो we get a 3D view of our surroundings. So इसी वजह से जब एक ऐसा radar, एक ऐसा synthetic aperture radar we would be using, which would have not just a single radar but two radars. So that would be giving us a more realistic, more holistic view of the surroundings. So let us take a look that what is the context, why is it in news, and why is it so special. If we talk about the NISAR is being launched today and it is expected to be the world's most powerful Earth observation satellite. Now, why do we need to observe the Earth? We need to observe the Earth to understand the pattern of climate, understand the pattern of growth of vegetation, जिसे हम remote sensing कहते हैं, so that we can create an early warning system, we can create a better map which can be used in geopositioning, GPS systems. So हमें अर्थ की observation better करने के लिए we use some satellites. And now this NISAR satellite will be helpful to get a better map of not only India but of overall globe. और पहली बार ऐसा देखा जा रहा है that it would be a first collaboration, that is जो hardware collaboration है between India and US Space Agency, that is NASA. Now, why exactly is this satellite so much special? इसके बारे में इतनी बात क्यों हो रही है? जो ज्यादातर हमारी ऑब्जर्वेशन सैटेलाइट्स होती हैं, मोस्ट अर्थ ऑब्जर्वेशन सैटेलाइट्स, दे सी थ्रू ओनली वन लेंस. उनके पास एक लेंस होता है, लेकिन जो निसार है, that would be using two lenses, that is one would be L band and another would be S band synthetic aperture radar. Now this L band means long wave जो है उसकी wavelength से related है, and S band is जो short wavelength को भी decipher करता है. And this would offer an unprecedented double layered view of Earth, कि Earth को हम और बेहतर तरीके से much more refined manner में we would be able to see, and that would add to accuracy, efficiency, and we would be able to make the climate policies, the agriculture policies more better, so that the people of the countries or the globe would be living in a more sustainable manner. Fine. Now after that we will see that कि इसरो और नासा का जो एक प्रोग्राम है, क्या ये कोई नया प्रोग्राम है? Is this a new program? But this program started around in 2007. जो ये पहला आइडिया था, this was NASA's idea, जो यूएस की स्पेस एजेंसी है उसका ये आइडिया था, and slowly but gradually ISRO joined it in 2012, and finally they had a deal in 2014 that they would be working upon this particular satellite mission together, जहां पे हार्डवेयर एक्सचेंज होगा. एंड इफ यू रिमेंबर दैट यूपीएससी का एक फेवरेट है, यूपीएससी keeps on asking about space missions and such space missions which have collaboration between two countries, and out of that one country is India. इंडिया जो है अगर किसी दूसरी स्पेस एजेंसी के साथ कोलैबोरेशन करता है तो इट बिकम्स अ वेरी बिग न्यूज, एंड वी हैव सीन इन 2025 प्रीलिम्स एज वेल, इन 2024 इटसेल्फ. हर साल कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा न्यूज में रहता है एंड इट कम्स इनटू आवर एग्जामिनेशन. नाउ व्हाट इज द एक्चुअल पर्पस ऑफ दिस निसार मिशन? ये किया ही क्यों जा रहा है? व्हाट इज द मेन पर्पस? तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी हैव टू मेंशन दैट इट ट्रैक्स द लैंड डिफॉर्मेशन, लैंड की टोपोग्राफी, किस प्रकार से लैंड जो है, कहाँ माउंटेनियस रीजन है, कहाँ प्लेन्स हैं, कहाँ प्लेट्यूज हैं. सो वी वुड बी हैविंग अ नॉलेज अबाउट लैंड डिफॉर्मेशन, लैंड की टोपोग्राफी, उसके बारे में जानने को मिलेगा. देन अबाउट द क्लाइमेट चेंज. क्लाइमेट चेंज इज अ वेरी एक्सेलरेटिंग फिनोमिना. हमारी जितनी भी डेवलपमेंट है इट इज अराउंड क्लाइमेट चेंज एज वेल. हम पेरिस क्लाइमेट डील की बात करें या फिर हम अपने जो रेजिलियंस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात करते हैं तो उसमें भी क्लाइमेट चेंज का एक इम्पैक्ट जो है इट इज वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड वी मस्ट स्टडी क्लाइमेट चेंज बेटर टू हैव नॉलेज ओवर इट. एंड जब तक डेटा नहीं होगा, when we don't have the data, exact data over the any phenomena, we cannot analyze it. So if we have more accurate data on climate change, more accurate data on the carbon cycle, water cycle, etc., so we can make the climate policies much better in an organized manner. It will always give us information, also give us information about the vegetation. The biomass means the flora and the fauna present in that particular area. क्या वहां पे biomass है? And overall, volcanoes, earthquakes and landslides. कहाँ volcanic eruptions होने वाले हैं? Which is active volcano? Early warning system can be placed in the Himalayan regions where landslides are more common, because when we have a two-lens synthetic aperture radar in the sky, we would have more accurate and more efficient imaging remote sensing data. And through that data, we can have the exact and clear images of the vulnerable regions that are present in the Himalayan regions, or we can say that Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats area. So after taking a look upon the purpose of this NISAR mission, which is, see, it is made upon from the name of ISRO and NASA only, that NASA and ISRO, NISAR. After that, we would also see that iska cost and contribution kya hai, because UPSC has an inclination of asking that if two space agencies are collaborating, which space agency is giving which technology, what cost it is bearing, क्या उसने टेक्नोलॉजी दी है. क्योंकि हमने देखा है that there was a mission of ISRO and JAXA is Japanese space agency. उन्होंने एक मून मिशन भेजा था. इफ यू रिमेंबर इन 2024 इट वाज अबाउट लूनर एक्सप्लोरेशन मिशन, जिसको लूपेक्स भी बोला गया. उसमें इंडिया ने लैंडर दिया था या रोवर दिया था. जापान गेव लैंडर और रोवर. दिस वाज द कंफ्यूजन पॉइंट, एंड यू मस्ट हैव दिस नॉलेज इफ यू वांट टू अटेम्प्ट सच क्वेश्चंस. So we would be focusing upon this thing as well, that what NASA is giving and what ISRO is giving. So if we talk about that, NASA is giving the long band synthetic aperture radar. Long band, that is the long wavelength वाला होगा. उसके अलावा the 12-meter antenna and the GPS system जो कि उसकी position determine करने के लिए help करेगा, and all this would be costing around $1.16 billion. And if you talk about what ISRO is giving in this mission, ISRO is giving a short band synthetic aperture radar, that is the S band, SAR. ठीक है. So now you have to remember this thing very accurately, that NASA is giving L band and ISRO is giving S band. Fine. Also the spacecraft that it would be carrying in it, and also the launch vehicle. You should focus upon the launch vehicle as well, because UPSC would be confusing you, as in the earlier stage we were focusing upon the PSLV launch. But this satellite, this whole mission is on a heavier side, so we would be using the GSLV, which is meant for sending heavy satellites to the space. And this satellite would be placed in the sun synchronous orbit. and you must understand the difference between the low Earth orbit and the sun synchronous orbit or the geosynchronous orbit. Fine. And the cost that the India would be bearing would be around $90 million. Interestingly, the launch site that we are talking about would be Satish Dhawan Space Center that is located on the Sriharikota Island. And if you have seen the environment marathon series that we conducted before the prelims examination, I told you about that what is the importance of Sriharikota Island. It is located near the Bay of Bengal beside the Pulicat Lake. And if you remember, Pulicat Lake is the second largest brackish water lake in India. Brackish का मतलब क्या है? A lake which has features of fresh water from the rivers as well as salty water from the sea. And it creates a beautiful environment जहाँ पर flora और fauna different varieties की यहाँ पर grow कर सकती हैं, and it is a biological hotspot as well. So here we have a small island, Sriharikota Island, जहाँ से ये launch किया जाने वाला है. So we should remember that India is not only giving the S-band synthetic aperture radar, but also the launch vehicle and the spacecraft as well. So you need to keep that in mind. और launch इसका कहाँ से हो रहा है, and the importance of Sriharikota Island. Now you must be thinking that what is this SAR, synthetic aperture radar, आखिरकार है क्या? You might have seen the traditional radars जब Operation Sindoor चल रहा था, when the Operation Sindoor was going on, the fight between the India and Pakistan. So we were using a traditional radar system to detect the enemy aircraft, drones, etc. So the traditional radars are placed in the ground and they have limitations to detect the things. But when we have synthetic aperture radar, which are not based upon the light, etc., so it has a capability to simulate large antennas using motion and algorithms. Through the different sort of rays, it is able to detect different geographical location, and with the help of computers, with the help of algorithms, it collects the data and it analyzes it to bring us to a more accurate and more efficient overall images of the location. So that's why, apart from the traditional radars, we are using the synthetic aperture radars, which have more capability to give us more accurate, more efficient information. And the SARs uses microwave signals which bounces back and give information about the distance, means kitna dur hai wo, the texture and the composition of the land or any surfaces, and also the surface elevation or the deformation. Kitna ऊंचाई है, कितना उसमें depth है, everything is accurately given to us. More importantly, जो synthetic aperture radars होते हैं, they can also see even through the clouds, also fog, rain, or even darkness, because they are not dependent upon the natural sunlight. They have the pulses of their own, which are not reflected or not blocked with these geographical factors. If you see that we have this working of synthetic aperture radar here, how synthetic aperture radar is attached to a satellite and it gives the pulses on the ground, which can have data from this area, and when it moves further, we can have data from this area, this, and further this. Now the algorithms will combine this data and send it back to the ground station, where the scientists would analyze the whole data and they would have a better quality image of the particular area. So that is why we are using the synthetic aperture radars in this particular form of satellite. Now after observing that what is this synthetic aperture radar, we must follow that what are the difference between the L band and the S band. Now just remember, अभी थोड़ी देर पहले हमने देखा था that L band would be given by NASA and S band would be given by ISRO. Now यहाँ पे जो L है और S है, इसका मतलब है long wavelength or short wavelength. Now depending upon the wavelength, we have the detection and what it can see through the wave. So the long wavelength is able to see the trees, sand, snow, and the forest in the region. which will give us about the knowledge about the tree trunks, the biomass in that particular area, and what is the happening in the ground beneath that area. And the short wavelength will give us information about the top layer. क्रॉप्स कहाँ पे हैं, वाटर बॉडीज कहाँ हैं, सॉइल मॉइस्चर कितना कहाँ पे है. ऊपर का जो हमें एक ओवरव्यू मिलेगा दैट वुड बी अवेलेबल फ्रॉम द एस बैंड, एंड जो डेप्थ मिलेगी हमें वो मिलेगी फ्रॉम द एल बैंड. So this difference you must be aware about, because UPSC might ask you and might interchange the detection level or the working level of these two bands, because this is in news and we have seen that in 2025, if you say, or in 2024, the SpaceX mission was very much in news. The Axiom mission was very much in news. Axiom 4 mission. In that also, India and ISRO and NASA had collaborated. But that was not on the hardware level. Shubhanshu Shukla, who went to the International Space Station, was part of that mission, and we saw that how Axiom 4 was asked in UPSC prelims paper. Also, the SpaceX mission, the space docking experiment that India conducted in its form, that was also asked in prelims examination. ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें you must be aware of जो कि एग्जाम में आ सकती हैं. And हमें ये कैसे पता चलता है? We get this from the previous year questions analysis. We analyze the previous year questions and we know that what to read, how much to read, और उसको कैसे relate किया जाए previous year questions से. And together, these two bands gives us a 360-degree view of the Earth topography. Earth किस प्रकार से changes है, something impossible with just one band satellite. And that's why this particular satellite, that is the NISAR satellite, is the most powerful Earth observation satellite. Earlier on, ISRO was dependent on the remote sensing satellites, RESAT जिसे कहते हैं. But अभी इसको Earth observation satellites कहा जा रहा है. इसके अलावा जो भी न्यूज में आएगा धीरे धीरे, as the news is evolving, we would be focusing upon the other Earth observation satellites as well. Fine. Now, after talking about the basics of NISAR, the synthetic aperture radar, or the L band, S band, we should come to a point where we must understand that ये सब हो ही क्यों रहा है? Why we are taking so much pain? The two big space agencies are taking so much pain to collaborate and send a mission, send a satellite which is Earth observation satellite. What would be the outcomes or what would be the significances of this satellite? So first of all, when we send a mission to space, we have some propagandas or some visions so that we can reap out the benefits of it. Now for USA, launching a satellite from India would be more cheaper, less costly, and they are more confident about India's technology because India have developed itself as a space economy very much in this recent time. And also India, when collaborating with NASA, will be able to take much leverage of the technology that NASA has. And overall, for the living beings on the earth, how this technology would help, first of all, the major thing is about environmental and agriculture applications. If you have a better satellite, a better eye in the sky, you can have better environment and agriculture applications. First of all, it can track the deforestation, wetland degradation. Now, with the ground observatories, it is very much difficult to track in the dense forest कि वहां पर किस हिसाब से किस रेट से डिफॉरेस्टेशन हो रहा है. Now, if you have the time, all weather, 24/7, 365 days, जब लाइट पे क्लाउड्स पे डिपेंडेंट ना हो, कुछ ऐसा अगर सीसीटीवी हमारे स्काई में है, तो इट वुड डेफिनेटली हेल्प अस टू ट्रैक द डिफॉरेस्टेशन सो दैट वी कैन प्रिवेंट इट, वी कैन प्रिवेंट द वेटलैंड डिग्रेडेशन. और जितना जल्दी हम उसको मिटिगेट कर पाएंगे उतना ओवरऑल एनवायरनमेंट के लिए बेनिफिट होगा. Moreover, we can also measure the carbon stock for climate action. Carbon stock, that where is the actual sources of carbon, where we can store our carbon so that we can reach the net zero principles. Net zero by 2070, ये हमारा पंचामृत principle that you might have read about. Carbon emission और carbon storage का जो है, we would be leading to the net zero climate by 2070. Overall, we can also monitor the crop growth and the drought impact. Simple सी बात है, if we have the accurate and efficient data, we can have better actions, better informed actions, earlier action, so that the problem can be detected in the early stages as well. And also, the solutions can be applied quickly and in an efficient manner. Moving forward, not only the environment and agriculture, it would be also important from the disaster monitoring or disaster management perspective. How? If we have better technologies in the sky which are giving us information about the topography, about the real-time assessment of data, we can give early warnings for earthquakes, volcanoes, and landslides. Now, through these remote sensing technologies only, we are able to have topographical area, the knowledge of topographical area ki Himalayan regions जो हैं, they are more vulnerable to landslides. And whenever we see कोई ऐसे loose rocks जो कि landslide को cause कर सकते हैं, we can have an early warning system to that area. And this early warning system would be a boon for lives and also the livelihoods of the people. And not only this, we can also have in damage assessment or post calamity. क्योंकि जब calamity होती है, the eyes on the grounds are very much blurred because the topography or that region changes its dimensions or dynamics. So we must have eye in the sky so that we can have better knowledge about that how the topography, how that geographical area has changed, so that the relief features, the relief materials can be provided to the people directly at these places. And the significance doesn't stop at the environment or the disaster management perspectives. We also have the geopolitical and scientific soft power. How? India is now part of global climate for disaster solution, as we have seen that India has already contributed in CDRI, that is Coalition of Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. We have also promoted Indian International Solar Alliance with France. So now we are also sending a satellite with NASA, which would be responsible for better analyzing the topography of the world. So we would be having a part in the global climate and disaster solution ecosystem. India would be trusted at a broader level, and that would definitely give India a place in multipolar world order, and India would be regarded highly. Also, overall जो diplomacy होती है India और USA की, it would strengthen that also. As Artemis Accords जो हैं, उसमें भी India is collaborating with USA. Artemis Accords क्या है? We would be sending the next man and the first woman onto the moon again. उसमें भी India का collaboration है US के साथ, तो this would be adding a step to it. Fine. Now, why we focus so much on this particular news would be clear in next slides. Why? See, UPSC in 2023 in the Central Armed Police Forces examination asked NISAR already. So we see that NISAR is in news not recently but since 2007-2008, and different commissions have asked it in different forms. Now, a simple question was asked in CAPF that NISAR satellite is manufactured jointly by ISRO and simple है कि ISRO और कौन सी स्पेस एजेंसीज जो है निसार की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. तो नाउ वी हैव स्टडीड वेरी मच क्लियरली दैट इट इज नासा, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, the official space agency of US. So this tells us that कभी भी इंडिया किसी फॉरेन स्पेस एजेंसी के साथ कोई मिशन करता है, it becomes important. So take a note of that. And also NISAR was recently asked by UPSC के किसी एग्जामिनेशन में, so it becomes very much important that कोई भी UPSC का एग्जाम जो इस साल कंडक्ट होगा, they would be asking again, because PYQs are a key to UPSC के कोई भी एग्जामिनेशन. और UPSC क्या, कोई भी एग्जामिनेशन हो, you must focus on the PYQs. And not only UPSC, UPPCS, Uttar Pradesh Civil Services, it asked a simple question about LUPEX mission that we discussed recently in this lecture itself. Lunar Polar Exploration Mission, that was LUPEX. Which of the following statement is correct? The first statement that it gave, that it is an India-Japan partnership for their joint moon mission. When the name itself, it gave that it is a lunar polar. So lunar means moon. And yes, if you have read or if you have done the PYQ, you knew that UPSC or जो जितने भी examination conducting body हैं, they focus upon the joint missions as well. So you might have covered this. And yes, JAXA जो वहाँ की space agency है, उसके साथ ISRO ने collaborate किया to send a moon mission that was known as LUPEX. And also, as I discussed in the NISAR, that USA will be giving L-band and ISRO will be giving the S-band aperture radar. Moreover, the GSLV launch vehicle and the spacecraft, and USA would be giving 12-meter antenna and also the GPS system for the navigation platforms. So similarly, similar statement was asked for LUPEX mission as well, when it told that JAXA is responsible for developing the lander for the mission while ISRO is handling the rover and launch vehicle. And now someone who might have just heard about this mission and would have not focused on the minute details that what the commissioners are asking, they would have confused in this. But if I have told you that whenever there is a joint mission, you should focus upon the particular thing जहां पर दो countries जो हैं कुछ ना कुछ contribute कर रही होंगी, and you should focus upon the contributing thing, be it the cost, be it the equipments. तो इन्होंने क्या किया, इसको exchange कर दिया. JAXA was responsible for rover and launch vehicle, and ISRO was responsible for the lander. So this statement became wrong, and answer would have been only one. So talking about this particular incident is not only that what is the current aspect. We also focused on the basic aspects of this particular news. That what was this news all about? What are the technologies used behind this particular mission? Which country is contributing what? And this whole analysis was backed by the evidence of previous year questions. That what UPSC is actually asking us. Now overall, इस knowledge से अगर बात करें तो we have a practice question that you must pause and try to attempt that UPSC क्या आपसे पूछ सकता है when it is about the particular NISAR mission. So let's see this particular question about NISAR. With reference to NISAR mission, consider the following statement. It is the world's first Earth observation satellite to carry the dual frequency SARs. Is it the first? Yes. एक पहली पूरी दुनिया की एक ऐसी सैटेलाइट बनने जा रही है which will be launching the dual frequency SAR, that is the synthetic aperture radar. This is right. The L-band SAR is capable of observing biomass and subsurface soil structures. L-band, it is talking about the long wave. NISAR is jointly developed by ISRO and ESA. ESA is European Space Agency. European Space Agency. And you have already heard and already discussed in this particular lecture that this mission would be a joint mission between ISRO and NASA. So ESA, European Space Agency, is not here. So we can eliminate this statement. And even you have a doubt about second statement, you can reach to the answer just with the knowledge of this thing. Because UPSC, if you have observed in the previous year question, it doesn't focus much upon the ratification of facts. Facts को rote learning के ऊपर वो ज़्यादा focus नहीं करता. It focuses on the basic terminologies and basic knowledge that everyone must have. So if you are aware that ये mission जो है ISRO और NASA का है, you can eliminate the statements which we have 3 in it. Third statement जो है eliminate हो जाएगा, and we would be having the answer. And we have also observed जो एक table हमने देखा था, L band जो है वो depth में coverage करता है, and S band जो है वो ऊपर का upper level देखता है, upper level analysis करता है. So through this particular current affair news, we were able to decipher the basic knowledge around it, the current aspect, and also the importance of space technology and the overall questions from the UPSC perspective as well. Now it is your duty that after you have watched this video, you must follow all the space news that has been happening in this particular current year and comment और आप बता सकते हैं कि आपको इफ यू वांट सम एनालिसिस ओवर एनी स्पेस मिशन वुड बी प्रोवाइडेड विद यू इन दिस प्लेटफॉर्म। वहां पे आपको उसका यूपीएससी से कनेक्ट and how to solve those particular question would be shared with you. So I hope you like this video. So share your feedback in the comment section, like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Take care.